Hello everybody, this is Ian again, and welcome back to my fourth review, which is Castrovalva. I forget which story number it is. It's, let me look. Story 117, and it's, Peter Davison's first episode as the Doctor, and it's also an episode with the Master. After his very creepy self in the Keeper of Traken, the very corpse zombie skeleton thing's very creepy, actually. Albeit cheesy. But so this is one of those episodes a bit like Time and Ronnie and Twin Dilemma and The Christmas Invasion, where the Doctor's kind of out of it or wacky, because it's like Time and Ronnie and the Twin Dilemma, where the Doctor's kind of wacky and out of it, and it's a bit like the Christmas Invasion, and it's the same problem as with the Christmas Invasion too. The Doctor has the Doctor's synapses are shutting down. And and there's a big problem with this regeneration too. It doesn't go very smoothly. And so he has post-regenerative problems. So Tegan, Nyssa, and Adric have to bring him to this very relaxing place called Castrovalva. And yes, this does contain spoilers. But they take him to this place called Castrovalva, which is supposed to be this really good place for post-regenerative trauma. And it is really funny. Well, actually, first of all, the Master sets a trap for the Doctor and his companions, where the TARDIS goes, towards the beginning of the universe, but then it's averted. But, and then they end up landing. One thing that is funny is that there's this thing called the Zero Room, which helps calm the mind of post-regenerative trauma, but it blew up. And so they had to build their quote-unquote Zero Cabinet. And the Doctor climbs inside the Zero Cabinet. It's actually really funny. That was one of my favorite parts of this episode. It was... So basically, at the same time, Adric is actually kidnapped by the Master and forced to make this place of Castrovalva make its own little little town that the Master took take control of, which is like the part of this huge trap that he planned for the Doctor. So when they get there, basically what happens is there's this spatial anomaly, and they figure out that the Master's behind it, and the Master is trapped in Castrovalva as it collapses, and the Doctor and his companions escape. But overall, the acting of Peter Davison was very funny and good in this episode. The acting was good, but it was... Especially episodes 2 and 3 were a bit boring, because nothing really happened. It was just a lot of running around, just a lot of walking around this place. I found it a bit boring, especially part 3. Part 1 was pretty good, but part 4 was amazing. I really enjoyed part 4. One of the things I liked about part 1 was how the Doctor keeps referencing his past regenerations companions, like he calls Adric Jamie, and he calls, I think it is Tegan or Nyssa, called him Joe, like J-O, Joe Grant. And then he basically kind of goes kind of crazy. It's very funny, actually. And a wheelchair comes up, kind of rolls towards him in the TARDIS, and he's like, the transport of delight. It's a very funny episode. Well, part 1 is. And it has a good cliffhanger. Parts 1 and 3 had good cliffhangers, but part 2 was kind of... One thing that was interesting about part 3, though, was that it wasn't what you expected. Like, you see these weird people in masks, and you think there's some type of crazy tribe, but it turns out they're just the made-up people who live in Castrovalva. But, yeah, part 3 was just a bit dull, because nothing really happened. It was kind of talking, a lot of it. And then in the end, the spatial anomaly is very interesting. It's a very interesting thing to happen, where it's kind of like Castrovalva is kind of folding in on itself and making all these weird spatial disturbances where they're kind of running around in circles and stuff. But basically, I found that the characters were very well developed in this, especially the three main inhabitants that you really get of Castrovalva. Ruther, the librarian, and the doctor. Not Peter Davison, the doctor, but the physician dude. Especially the librarian. But in the end, basically, everyone dies except for the doctor and his companion, and the master's trapped. But, yeah, the setting was good, though. The special effects, I thought, especially, were good. It's like the scene things, where there's this one scene where the screen's upside down and they're running upside down. It was very disorientating. But this episode's okay. I wouldn't say it's a bad episode, it's just not as exciting as it could have been. So, overall, I'd give this episode a 6 out of 10.